Starting the stream up. This is Knicks Off-Season Central. CP from Knicks Fan TV. My man J.Ellis from the Nick of Time Show. This is the ultimate guide to the Knicks 2019 draft. On tonight's episode, we're going to give you the latest Knicks news in regards to the draft. Talk about R.J. Barrett, Darius Garland, Jarrett Culver. We're going to give you our second round sleepers. And we want to hear from you guys, man. What's your questions? What's your comments? What's your opinions on the draft? Call us up, 657-383-1509. This is the home of the diehard Knicks fan. If you're a diehard Knicks fan, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next show. All right. Joining us tonight, our guy Shwinny's back. Shwinny joined us for the last year's draft episode. We had a dope episode. Definitely knows his stuff in regards to college basketball. Shwinny, welcome back, man. How you feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. All right, so let's get into it. We got a lot to cover. This week, it was announced that the Knicks were going to be working out Darius Garland today. And Darius Garland out of Vanderbilt played only about 5 games this season in the NCAA. Was regarded as one of the best point guard prospects, and some argue if he didn't get hurt, he could have been the top ranked over Ja Morant. That's J.Ellis' guy. We know Darius Garland is J.Ellis' guy.
Yep.
Even though we know Barrett is Barrett's job to lose, I mean, what's your take on the Garland news and Garland as a prospect?
Sorry, for
Shwinny.
I didn't take too much from the news itself I thought was pretty interesting. I don't think you just bring somebody in that you haven't worked out at all the day before the draft unless there's at least something going on.
Right.
I wouldn't say that's because, I wouldn't say it's because definitely, something is happening. But I do think it's because they're at least talking.
Yeah.
They're definitely talking. Now, whether that talk is who knows what that means? That doesn't mean anything. It can mean that they're asking New Orleans to give up everything they got from the Lakers for it or not. It doesn't really, you know what I mean? We don't know exactly what that means. All we know that it means is that they're at least talking. That said, I personally don't think Garland should I think he's good. There's definitely things he brings to the table that nobody else in the draft brings to. His pull-up shooting is real. His range is real.
Yeah,
all that stuff
dude looked like his range was crazy, man.
Yeah, he can definitely shoot it. And obviously the Knicks could not shoot it last year, so that matters. But whether that means I'm very, very skeptical that they would take him overall.
Yeah. I mean, JL's, when we had Spencer on from Front Office Eye, shout out to Spencer. That was his guy. Obviously, they went to school. He went to Vanderbilt, so he's very high on Garland. He gave us the Dame Dollars comparisons, unlimited range, quick twitch, the agility, the speed, the handles. That's your guy, man. What do you like about Garland?
Everything you just mentioned, and everything that Tweet just mentioned, we need shooters on this team.
We need shooters badly, man.
And he's a shooter. And now I like what R.J. Barrett has to bring to the table. Don't get me wrong. It's just that our team right now is just built so weird. We have a lot of really good potential guys who can do well, but nobody a lot of the skill sets don't complement each other all the way through. I know R.J. and Knox potentially can match each other on the offensive side of the ball. But I just know to win in this league, you need point guards that can shoot. I just finished watching a series where Damian Lillard went up against Russell Westbrook, a guy who was, good at attacking the basket versus a guy who can shoot the lights out, and the guy who can shoot the lights out took him out. And and you're seeing that around the NBA right now, spreading the floor and being a threat at three-point line just opens up everything so much. And I just felt hey, a guy who's going to do that easily is something the Knicks don't have, and I feel like we could use something like that. So that's why I was kind of high on it. And I feel a little vindicated that it came out that we're even thinking that. What was the quote? The quote was, "There's a chance some feel that Garland could have a better career than RJ, but it's too much of a risk."
Yeah.
Which is true considering that we are 3. But I feel like because of that whole Garland might have shot himself in the foot a little bit with refusing to work out earlier. He might have had like a little promise from the Lakers. Maybe he was hanging out with LeBron, and he might have shot himself in the foot because maybe if the Knicks would have seen him earlier instead of the night before the draft, they might have taken him a little bit more seriously. But it's kind of now it seems super rash to make that decision the night before the draft. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, certainly interesting, man. I mean, you know, they did, as they say, they did work out KP at the last minute. We see where that went. You know, when we had Berman on the show, you know, Berman alluded to, you just never know. Obviously, they have to do their due diligence. It may come a time where you may make a trade for that player. I mean, look how quickly we got Dennis Smith, you know, 1 year removed from being a rookie. So, I mean, you just never know. And people also, you know, speculate sometimes these teams do that as a favor to the agent, you know, try to bump a guy's stock up. I mean, there's many reasons, but I don't know. It's just interesting to see that the meniscus injury really didn't set him back as far as, you know, his draft stock was concerned.
Yeah, man. I mean, he didn't do it for Kyrie either. Kyrie went through a similar situation when he was getting drafted, where he only played a few games and an injury kind of derailed him, but he still ended up getting picked pretty high, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Kyrie had a different pedigree, though, coming into college than Garland. Garland was like the 16th overall recruit or something like that. I mean, he's not like a bad recruit, obviously, but I do wonder sometimes if there's some element of like, well, he's like almost benefiting from not playing, whereas other guys are, I don't want to say like they're getting hurt by it, but they're like more scrutinized because they you know what I mean? Like they take play so that we have a lot more film on them. We have more to scrutinize. Whereas with Garland, it's like he played 5 games,
man.
Yeah. Nobody, basically. I think he played one game against USC.
USC, yeah.
Yeah. And then 4 other games against basically nobodies. And, you know, what are we supposed to take from that? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, certainly interesting, man. And we'll see what happens. I mean, if it's not at 3, do you think, do the Pelicans go? I mean, him and Zion could be pretty nice. I mean, I know that they got Lonzo and Drew Holiday there, but I don't know how high they are on Lonzo Ball. But, you know, you got the Pelicans at 4. Who's at 5? Cleveland at 5? I saw some mock drafts having them at Cleveland at 5, but that didn't make too much sense to me with Sexton there.
Mm-hmm.
And then who do you have at 6? You have Phoenix at 6?
Yeah, Phoenix is at 6, and then Bulls are at 7.
And then Bulls are at 7. So
4, 6, 7.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Good.
And I think I just read that the Timberwolves are trying to trade up to get him right now.
Yeah, they're trying to trade up to 4. I don't know what that. I think they want a point guard, but I don't know if that doesn't necessarily. Yeah. It could be Garland. It could be, you know, it could be Kobe White. Who knows? But
yeah.
Yeah, I think the real GM said they want Garland at 4.
T-Wolf, Garland at 4. Okay. We'll see, man. So let's get into obviously the front runner of this whole thing is RJ Barrett. He's saying all the right things, man. He wants to be a member of the Knicks. His grandfather was a Knicks fan. I mean, he's done so much good PR for the Knicks this week. You'd think he worked for them. For the front office, man. Real talk. But, hey, listen, you know, this is a kid. He's coming in highly touted. A lot of people saying a lot of complimentary things. Coach K, J. Williams, all those guys. I mean, Shwinny, what's your overall take on RJ Barrett? You think the fan base is kind of too hype on him right now? I'm seeing a lot of positive energy from the fan base in regards to RJ. What's your take on him?
If you want to be positive about RJ, I'm not like initially. I guess maybe I'm down on RJ relative to what a lot of people think,
Yeah.
but he's not like bad. He's fine. He's a good prospect. There's definitely things to like about him. He's not like I don't really understand the Wiggins comparisons that
Yeah,
some of his
I
like
don't see that.
detractors have been throwing at him
Yeah.
because he actually, he can pass, he rebounds. Like there are things about him that are just, I mean, I don't really get it at all. Why anybody would compare him to Bear or to Wiggins rather. I also saw like what was it, 538 compared
I
him
was
to
about to pull that up. Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
538 comparison is
Said he
crazy.
was most similar to Carmelo and like
And
I,
D'Angelo
I
Russell's second.
yeah, I mean, I guess
That's what
Yeah.
I can see Russell more than Melo just the way they play,
a little bit, yeah.
but like Melo doesn't make any sense to me because I don't know. Like I have not ever. I don't even know what Melo's college numbers look like. I think efficiency wise they were similar, but like Barrett did a lot more playmaking than I remember Melo ever doing in
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
And as far as Russell, I guess I don't know. It's really weird with Barrett because he essentially had to run point at times,
Yeah.
but he didn't run point. Like he wasn't the point guard, so it's a little bit of a different situation. I don't know. I don't really like either of those comparisons. I think Barrett's just he's a very unique kind of prospect in terms of his statistical production and um, just everything about him is very different because uh, like he just I just I don't really like comparing prospects in that sense.
Yeah.
There's so many differences in just how they played and like systems and then the teams they were on and what their roles were and blah 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 blah. It's more like what can these guys do? What are their actual skills, and then what can they do at the next level that matter? And I just don't see any way that like Barrett ends up becoming like Melo or D'Angelo Russell. Like
Yeah.
they're just not really good comparisons for him.
Yeah, I definitely don't see those comparisons, J.Ellis.
I don't see it.
That was kind of
I definitely.
yeah. I don't see it, man. Shwinny, just bring your laptop screen down a little bit.
Yeah, you're like peeking up under like the.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't get the comparisons, but I'm definitely intrigued by the prospect. I think we got to go with the guy with the highest ceiling, the guy that's could potentially be the biggest impact player. I know, the Culver pick to me is more of a safe pick. I think with Barrett, though, you got to go with the guy who you think has the best star potential. I like that he's left-handed. I like that he's a capable playmaker. He's a guy that can start the break. He can run the pick and roll. He could probably help fill some of that point guard void. I'm interested in seeing if it's DSJ going forward. I'm interested in seeing how they operate in the backcourt. I'm intrigued, man. The size, he has the size. He can rebound. Obviously, his defense needs work. He can work on that. And I just like his leadership qualities, man. I think he could be real solid for us.
Yeah, I'm not that intrigued by him and Dennis Smith Jr. in the backcourt.
Nah, it just doesn't. It just like I said, there's fit problems when you have Dennis Smith Jr. next to RJ Barrett. They just don't mesh to me in my head, which is why I was high on Garland in the first place. But I mean,
yeah,
but
like Garland and RJ would make sense, but obviously that's was.
Absolutely. Garland, you can trade DSJ for Garland. I don't know.
We could do that, I'd be down, but I don't think we can.
I don't know, man. Listen, I'm interested in DSJ year 3. I'm not ready to give up on him. You know what I mean? I'm already under the impression that we're not getting Kyrie in this thing, nor Kemba. So what other options do we have? What other options do we have? You guys would say DSJ got to go. Who's gonna play point guard on this team?
I didn't say he has to go. I'm just saying.
I'm just talking about. I see people in the chat talking about DSJ got to go.
No, I was saying Garland. I was saying DSJ for the 4th. That's what I said.
DSJ for the 4th, straight up. What do you guys think about the RJ and Knox pairing? How you guys see that working out? Potentially.
I'll let J.Ellis go first.
What do you say?
I said, hey, what do you think about the RJ and Knox pairing?
I mean, the RJ Knox pairing is interesting because Kevin. I mean, they seem like they work perfectly together on the offensive end with Kevin's jump shot looking pretty wet from the corner, and RJ's ability to kind of run the offense sometimes, and both of them kind of being that long wing player that they might be able to switch a little bit on defense once they actually get better on defense. But offensively, though, I feel like their skills kind of complement each other. The thing is, I know towards the end of the year last season, we were trying to have Kevin Knox run more of the offense, and now that RJ is here, and it seems like it might be a little more natural for RJ to do that than Kevin. I'm wondering what direction Fizdale is going to pick. Is he going to keep trying to develop Kevin Knox as a guy who can initiate the pick and roll sometimes, or is he just going to go with straight up RJ?
Shwinny, what's your take?
I absolutely hate that pairing. That's like my honest take. I just think that like there's no way that pairing on the wing is even good for like 2-3 years maybe. Like it's going to be so bad on defense. It's going to be terrible.
Defensively is going to be tough.
So defensively is where it's going to be.
Defensively is going to be tough.
And then I mean offensively, I'm not actually that worried about their pairing.
Yeah,
Kev, like Knox is fine playing off the ball. He's probably better playing off the ball than he would be. Like I think he'll probably benefit. I mean, he'll benefit more than a lot of. I mean, he'll benefit whatever. It doesn't matter who in comparison to, but he'll benefit from playing off the ball more. But like if we're playing RJ at 2 and Knox at 3, they're just gonna get lit up every night, and like that's kind of where I don't really know how we're building this team forward because, and that's not to say like, trust me, this is not me arguing that that's why we should not, draft RJ Barrett. I think there are reasons to draft him, that, over that, but like, I don't know what we're actually building long term here if we go with Barrett and we're just going with this youth movement thing, especially with like, the rumors that Frank is going to get traded, blah, blah, blah. But it's like,
I think Frank is out of there.
Whatever. Let's just say, like, it doesn't really matter if he is or not. Let's just assume he is. I mean, so we're going to start Dennis Smith Jr., RJ, and Knox together? Like, are we trying to give up the most points in NBA history?
I mean, that's part of the rebuild, man. That's part of the rebuild. I mean,
that's why I always, people laugh at me, but I always say, if you're going to have RJ, I'd rather have him run the second unit, and start Dot at the 2, because I feel like that solves a lot of the spacing problems, the offense-defense problems. I feel like.
Well, who would you have come off the bench?
I would have RJ come off the bench. Like I know Art is like, because there's talent, right? It's obvious that RJ has the higher ceiling than Dotson, but Dotson fits the starting 5 better. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like
why wouldn't you just bring Knox off the bench and start RJ?
Yeah, I would. If that's the case, I would bring Knox off the bench. If you're talking about bringing Dotson in for more balance on the defensive end, I guess. But I mean, I'm starting RJ, man. I'm starting RJ off the rip.
I mean, off the rip, though, like, I guess, you know what it is? When you think about players who've been here longer, I think it's harder for a coach to be like, all right, Knox, you've been here a season longer, you're more acclimated, but you're going to come off the bench for like the rookie.
Well, like, that's why he gets paid money.
Yeah.
That's why Fizdale gets paid what he gets paid to handle that stuff. Like, that's not our problem. That's his problem. Like, he has to start who deserves to get started. And, he didn't do that shit last year. But, you got to start who deserves to get started. And I don't think anything Knox, like, I'm not one of these people that thinks, like, Knox is, irredeemable bust or anything like that. I don't But he didn't do anything last year to suggest that like he has to be tied in for sure as a starter. Like nothing he did. Like okay, he shot well from three. He shot well from three for an 18-year-old, 19-year-old rookie. Like that actually is something, and I think that's something that a lot of people that are like very very down on him dismiss. But shooting 34% on whatever his volume was, it was like a pretty good volume. I think it was like 6 threes per game or whatever it was. That's like a pretty good that's a good number, but he also did shoot 37% from the field overall. Like he was terrible on defense. Basically every lineup he was in was garbage. That's not to say that like all that is his fault, but if everything is pointing to you being a negative, like you're probably a negative.
I mean, but I'm you know
Um,
what it is? So I'm going off of towards the end of the season, he was shooting like 40% for three in the last month. And I felt like the efficiency was kind of ticking up. So a lot of that thinking of even starting Knox comes off. Can he build off the momentum that he built from the end of the last season? And did he take the next step? So I feel like that's what I'm basing it from off of. And if the season comes along and he hasn't taken the next step, then he has to take the next step, and then you gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah, but like that's kind of like the point though. Is I mean that's fine. Like let them play for it in camp, whatever. But um, we to me, I wouldn't be constructing any lineup. I think RJ is a clear cut, and I'm presuming here that RJ is the pick. I think it's like unless we get blown away with an offer, I think he's going to be the pick.
Yeah, he's definitely the pick.
Yeah, he's
So,
good.
assuming RJ is the pick, like I think he's going to come in and just even if I'm not his like I don't think he's a bad prospect. I think he's a good prospect, but I don't think he's amazing. But even as somebody like that, like he's gonna come in and honestly, I think we're gonna see like, wow, there's such a difference between him and like the guys we've been picking, like Frank and Knox, and even like guys we tried about like DSJ. Like there's a definite difference between these guys where I think where RJ is gonna come in and be able to produce maybe not efficiently, but he's going to be able to like produce numbers. And like when you can do that, you just deserve to start over like
I'm
Knox,
starting.
who Knox isn't again like he's not bad, but he's not like you can't just give Knox the ball a bunch of times and he's going to get you numbers. That's not the player he is. Like we saw plenty of games where he just got the ball a bunch of times and like he would put up a dud. Like RJ might even if he has a dud, he's going to get you numbers. He's going to get you production. He's going to, it might be inefficient, but he'll get you points. He'll get you assists. Like he's going to fill out the box score in a way that none of these guys can. So to me, if we're just talking about starting on merit, RJ is going to end up starting on merit. And whether Knoxville or not, to me, is up in the air. But like, there's no way in hell that we should be starting Dennis Smith Jr., Knox, and RJ together. And I mean, if we are, then strap in for another like 65 loss season. But
Who's your starting five?
I don't know. I mean, that's what free agency is going to help us determine.
Yeah, we'll see. It's still early, man. It's still early. Let me get to the phones. Let's go to Matt from Jersey. He wants to talk about RJ and Fizdale's playing style. Matt, how you feeling, bro?
What's up, man? What's up, CP? Been keeping up with the show for the last 3 months.
Okay, appreciate it, man.
And basically, I mean, I hope we take RJ, man. I really do, because I've been watching him. I think he's gonna be the man. And basically, I want to talk about Fizdale too. I mean, think about this. The question I wanted to ask: if KP didn't get hurt last year before they traded him, do you think we make the playoffs?
No. No, I don't. No, I don't think
close
so.
to the playoffs?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, I don't see us making the playoffs, even if KP was healthy last year. To be honest.
Last year, I don't know. I have no idea.
The reason why I asked that because RJ is coming in to pretty much replace KP.
Right.
I mean, our rebuilding is not going to be crazy. It's going to happen. It's going to happen pretty quick. And Fizdale needs to step up his coaching, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and appreciate the call, man. I mean, listen, we spoke about that yesterday. You know, I mean, earlier today, sorry. Obviously, Fizdale, he's going to be on the clock, man, no matter who we get in free agency. Second year Fizdale is going to be held to a higher standard to get the culture started, established, get the identity established, and get some sort of semblance of a system. I mean, JL,
Yeah,
what do you guys think about that?
Man. That's the biggest thing, is the system.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of who we have, is going to be more pressure on him to establish that identity and that culture with these young guys, man, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, because if KP was healthy, like, I mean, so many things would be different. Maybe we don't, like, you know, like, I mean, not that we have a lot of cap space, but if we knew KP was healthy, would we have signed Hazonia for whatever cap space we did have? Would we have been more aggressive about giving Kylo Quinn more money? Like,
Yeah.
I think, I mean,
Yeah.
I know that they wanted to keep Kyle. I know they made him like a legit offer, but I don't think they made him some offer they didn't make an offer he couldn't refuse, kind of, right? Whereas, like, if KP is healthy, maybe he's like, okay, yeah, this team can make the playoffs, so I'm going to stick around for another year, and, you know, I'll see what happens. So there's just too many variables to know. I do think that, like, if KP was healthy, they would have at least won like 35 games last year. But I mean, what does that even mean? I know that, well, I mean, when it was healthy the year before, by the time he went out, we had a losing record. We weren't in the playoff picture by the time when he got injured. So we can't say any of that for certain.
Yeah.
They would have been better. That's all we can really say.
Sure.
They would have been the worst team in the league.
For sure, man. All right, let's go to Georgia. Will from Georgia, he wants to talk about selecting RJ over Garland. Will, how you feeling, bro?
Yo, I'm good, bro. Good, CP. What's going on with you, baby?
Chilling, man. How you feeling, bro?
All right, I'm good. Hey, man, I just want to say, man, we definitely need to pick R.J. Barrett, bro. You know, it's about talent acquisition, man. He's 19 years old. You know what I'm saying? We need to pick him, bro. We need to pick him. 19 years old. He's talented. That's what we need, not Darius Garland. This kid was the number one prospect before Zion. He needs to be in the fold, bro. Talent. That's what we need, talent. 19. Put these guys in there. Let them develop together. DSJ, him too. Keep him. We was raving about him before we picked him. You know, we wanted him in that draft. Now we got him. Let's develop him.
Yeah.
Keep him.
Yeah, I agree, man. Appreciate the call, Will. Definitely appreciate it. Listen, this is what the development is about, man. It's about talent acquisition. Like J.Ellis said, we don't know. Obviously, everything's not going to be a perfect fit right now. We're trying to see who's going to fit. We're trying to see who's going to fit, who's in, who's out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but you know what it is too? Is like, it's easier to know who's in, who's out, and who fits when the pieces are complementary. We just finished watching Duke lose because they had poor spacing, and then we're gonna put him in a situation when he has poor spacing on the Knicks, and then we're gonna be like, oh, well, he can't do this, can't do that. Of course, because he doesn't have the spacing. Like it's cool that he has the potential, but we still, to maximize potential and for other people to actually see the potential, we have to put the right pieces.
You got to put the right pieces, man. Got to surround these guys with the right pieces. Let's go to well, before we get to the next call, shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Make sure you subscribe to the channels. If you guys are new to the chat, new to the show, leave us with a hashtag new in the chat so we can shout you guys out. Also put your city in the chat. Where you guys watching from? We can shout you guys out on that as well, man. Salute to everybody. We got about 600 people watching on YouTube. Shout out to everybody on Facebook and Twitter as well. Who's Mark in the building? 23 Blade, RJ Williamson, Ayo Powell, what's going on? JL, who you got in your chats, bro?
Man, I got my guy Craig Williams, Jet for Life, Brooklyn, Charlie, what's going on? Johnny Markosh. I see my boy Wayne, 730. Teresa, what's going on? Shout out to the chat. Rich Boy, Stafford Don, what's going on?
All right. Let's go. All right, so let's go back to the phones. We'll go to Mustafa from Atlanta. He wants to talk about the RJ and Knox pairing. Mustafa, how you feeling, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man? It's been a while since I got y'all live, so I'm going to just run through a couple of things quick.
Okay.
First, I'm not that high on Darius Garland. Don't really know why, but I'm just not. I prefer RJ over Darius Garland because I think he's a shot creator. I think he's a shot taker. I think a comparison for RJ right now was probably Wade coming out. He can shoot the shot. He's not afraid of the shot. And he's not a great shooter, but he's high athletic, and he's got high basketball IQ. So that's why I see the upside for RJ. About the caller that called before who said what would be if KP wouldn't have got hurt, I think if KP is healthy last year, that means he's healthy the year before when he doesn't get hurt. So we probably make the playoffs that year, at least 8th or 7th. We could have possibly had a losing record at the time. I think we were about 500 when KP went down. He went down dunking on Giannis. So it's kind of like I don't see us like not being better than Orlando or some crap like that or Detroit. And for this coming year, I look at the growth of you got a guy like RJ. I like DSJ's athleticism and for what we pay these guys. Like we can't give up on the fact that we're getting production for the cheap from 8 of our players. That is so much gold right now. If you tell me we can't beat the Hawks 3 times this year, if we can't beat the Pistons twice this year, if we can't beat Orlando twice this year, if we can't beat the Bucks once, Toronto once, it's teams that we can beat and possibly make that push for the AC. Not even saying I want that. I don't care. But we could have won 15 more games last season. Like this past season, realistically, if we tried.
Give
up the whole team.
Yeah, that's an optimistic outlook, Mustafa, man. 15.
So, but I'm saying, we beat the Hawks twice. We can beat these bad East teams and steal some games here and there. We beat the Bucks in double overtime. You know, we beat San Antonio twice. We beat the Lakers twice in games they wanted to win. When we were changing the team every 5 seconds. If you give these guys a whole year playing together, these young guys, hungry, I can see us winning some games. Now, we can win 30 games next season. And I think it's worth it for us to keep these young guys together. I'm so glad we didn't make the AD trade, and I'm so glad we didn't take that stupid Hawks trade. Yeah. So I'm saying I look in the direction we're going. I can take Julius Randle for $20 million. I can see that. I think we pass up on everybody else. Other than that, we can't get KD and another complimentary person. If we can't get Kawhi, I don't want any of these guys by themselves. I don't want Tobias Harris for 30. I don't want Jimmy Butler for 30.
Nah, I'm good on that.
I don't want any of those guys. I'll take a couple of guys on a one-year option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd do that all day and be right back where we're at next year. But that's my thoughts, guys. I love hearing y'all. I'm glad I caught y'all tonight. I got right off work, right on time.
Nice.
So I think I'm at the bottom shaking his head. He doesn't agree with nothing I'm saying. But I want to hear what he got to say.
All right. Appreciate it, Mustafa, man. Make sure you tune in tomorrow during the draft live stream as well, man. Appreciate the call, man. Shwinny, what's your comeback at this, man?
I don't know how. I mean, I agree with him wholeheartedly that, like, if you don't get KD or Kawhi, you don't max anybody else. That's it. Like, and like with KD now, like me personally, I'm not maxing. I'm not.
You're not going that route.
No, I'm not going to. I can talk myself into it, I guess, because he's that good.
You're thinking the same old Knicks at that point.
I just don't really get it. Like, all right, so you max him, he's out for the first year, 100%. Probably still recovering the second year. Like, he's not just going to come back and kill it. And then he's 33, I think.
Probably 33 about that. He's about 33 at that time. And then
during the last 2 years of his contract, like, I don't know, the value just doesn't really strike me as great. Maybe I'm off on that. But like I said, like, I can talk myself into that because at least what you're doing there is you're maxing a guy that is arguably a top 10, top 15 player of all time, right? So, like, okay, I can at least talk myself into that. Like, Kawhi, obviously, no doubt, understand why you max him, and you're good. Everybody else, it's like, okay, Kyrie's a head case. Jimmy is Jimmy. Who knows how he's going to feel? Tobias is not a max player to me at all.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I'm dipping in the basement, man. If we're not getting KD and Kawhi, I'm going into the basement. I'm going to get some vets. I might see what's good with Jermichael Green. See how much he might cost.
Just get a couple of vets that you can sign to either 1+1 contracts or 2+1 contracts.
Word.
Go with that, and then like try and use some of your space to take on negative contracts for picks. Like that's it. That's all I really want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I 100% believe like all of our young guys are awesome. I don't actually believe all our young guys are awesome, but like, you know, they're young, so it's worth just keeping them in house. And if you don't have a better alternative other than, you know, I mean, the ideal plan was what, like Max K, like the ideal plan we had was Max KD, Max Kyrie or Kemba, trade for Anthony Davis, right? Like, so AD is out. Like and based on what he went for, like, thank God, like that was out.
Yeah.
You know, KD tore his Achilles, so you know, make that what you will, and then everything else after that is like whatever. Like I don't want to max out the guy, so I think that I might have disagreed with some of his thoughts, but I think he ultimately had the right idea. Like that, you know, you don't do anything other than sign 1+1s or 1-year contracts. Like I'm actually okay signing 2-year contracts for some guys because next year's free agency sucks as far as I'm concerned.
It's not a good class next year.
Nope.
Not a good class next year.
So you know, if like the difference between you getting, I don't know, I've talked about this endlessly, but like, let's say you signed Patrick Beverley and Marcus Morris, right? Like, if the difference between you getting them and not getting them is signing them to like 2 years, 20 million instead of 1 year, 12 million, that's fine to me. That's more than fine to me. I just think that like we cannot have another year where we roll the ball out there and the kids just be kids and like we're like, yeah, dude, just figure it out, keep what you kill and all that bullshit.
No, I think we have to be as competitive as we can. We've seen with the lottery results this year that it pays to be that way instead of just going straight to the bottom. We gotta try to put a field of competitive team out there. Surround the kids with some vets that are gonna come to work every day. Now, I would love to get Patrick Beverley in here, although I think he's going to go to probably the Lakers or more of a contender. So I think the Lakers need him. But you also mentioned J.Ellis. Shwinny also mentioned about trading for cap space. Did you see the Thunder news that the Thunder were looking to trade, package up potentially the number 23 pick plus Roberson for some cap relief on the luxury tax? What would you do in that regard, J.Ellis?
I'm taking it and running.
Yeah, I'm taking it. I'm
taking that and running. I saw Steve Adams on that list too, which is like, wait, what?
Yeah, Steven Adams. They got to do something, man. That team is stuck in the mud. They stuck in no man's land right now. Let's be honest.
I mean, Steven Adams only has 2 years left on his contract, so there might be some team that's just like, okay, if you give me a first round pick, sure, I'll take Steve. Like, I mean, he's a starting center. Like, he's not a bad player. He might be overpaid, but he's not a bad player.
No, he's a starter, definitely.
Yeah. So like that to me, I don't know. I think that's maybe that name is just a little bit out there, but like, yeah, sure. If they wanted to give you a first round pick to just like eat Andre Roberson's expiring contract, I'll do that.
I would do that.
It's actually the 21st pick, not the 23rd.
21st, right? I saw 21st earlier, but I see people talking about some people mentioning 23rd, but around there. But yeah, I would definitely take that on. All right, back to the phones. Let's go to Jay from North Carolina. He wants to talk about RJ and the future starters. Jay, how you feeling, bro?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How y'all fellas doing, man? I want to apologize the other night, man. I was nursing my mom. She was feeling bad, and I had a bad reception, so the phone got cut off.
Oh, not a problem, man. Not a problem. Hope everything was all right.
Yeah, she's doing much better. The thing with Barrett, Barrett is a complete scorer. We don't have nobody that can go get their own buckets. If you noticed before, Nick Nurse called that timeout to stop the momentum of Kawhi.
Man, what the hell was
he was going
thinking?
to get his own buckets.
What the hell was he
Leonard
thinking?
was going to get his own buckets with no timeouts. He didn't need no time. Get out the way. That's what we need. RJ is the type dude that will go and get his own bucket when the play breaks and it is not a develop for a play no more. That's what I love about this guy. But I do believe we need to get some toughness in our game. If we can't get Kawhi, don't even go after KD. All that, sign him, let him sit for a year. Nah, we waited with KP, and KP got traded. We can't wait 2 more years on another dude. We got to keep on developing. But go get some of these tough-minded dudes. Morrison, power forward. He'll go great with Money Mitch. And I text y'all one time, Brogdon. I'm telling y'all, that boy Brogdon is tough-minded. That's what we need.
Yeah, I like Brogdon a lot.
Keep talking about we need point guard. Yes, he plays defense.
Yeah,
he can handle the rock. He ain't scared of the moment. And for a little bit of change, like $20 million, he gonna leave because they're not gonna give him that much money, and they already don't pay Bledsoe. They made a mistake for him.
Well, they got to pay Middleton. Middleton, they say, is looking for that 5-year max bag. So good luck with that. I'm not giving him that shit.
Yeah, the Bucks are also trying to move some pieces to get that space. So they're also trying to move their first round picks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
they got to work.
I like DS, but I don't think DS is the solution.
I mean, my take is I'm not saying he's the solution. All I'm saying is we don't know, man. It's early. Just the same people that want to get D'Angelo Russell in here was the same people that was talking about D'Angelo was trash 2 years ago, last year. It takes time for some of these guys, man. DSJ is on his second team in as many years on a tanking team, terrible team. Let's get some talent in here and see what this guy could do. We've seen flashes, man. We see this guy throwing up triple doubles. Yes, his jumper needs work. He needs to be more efficient. Got to get in shape. We know all the weaknesses with DSJ. I'm just here to see. Let's see what happens with this kid, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even though I was talking about having Garland, I'm definitely not on the D-Lo train with DSJ. Let's pick a direction. Let DSJ rock. If we're not going to get some big Kyrie KD pairing thing, let DSJ rock and we'll go from there.
Oh, definitely. We don't need to switch boroughs with D-Lo. We definitely don't need to do that.
Yeah, absolutely,
Let them switch states.
Absolutely, man. Jay, appreciate the call, man. We got a lot of calls on the line, so I definitely want to get to as many as we can. Yo, what's good, bro?
CP.
Yeah.
Yo, I just saw something that said the Pelicans are assembling assets in an all-out effort to trade with Memphis for the second pick.
Wow.
Peter Vesey.
Oh man. Peter Vesey trying to come back?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
How you feel about that?
Peter Vesey kind of lost his touch, man.
That sounds like they're trying to like make that really just sounds like they're trying to make a trade with the Knicks. That's what that sounds like to me.
Peter Vesey, he's trying to step on Woj's toes. He's trying to tell you he still got it, man. He's still got juice in these streets.
If they're allegedly trying to trade, I mean, the Grizzlies just traded Conley.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So like they're gonna take Grant. Like that's what that is.
They're taking. But what if? I mean, what if they're just as high as Garland, and maybe they say, "Hey, listen, we'll take whoever the Knicks don't take."
Yeah, I mean, sure, I guess go for it. But like, so they're gonna pass Ja, and then let us. I mean, I don't know how this affects us. So I guess basically they're gonna take, like, so the Pelicans would trade up for RJ, and then we would take Ja, and then they would take Garland at 4. Like,
or we take Garland, they take Ja. I mean, I don't think it's impossible.
I mean, I think that's correct. I think it's bullshit. Like, I don't see how that. I think that's more than anything. That sounds like they're trying to get. This entire thing just sounds like they really want RJ. They don't have the juice to get up to 2. They keep floating that they have the juice. They do have the. Actually, no, hold up. They do have the juice to get up to 2.
Yeah,
but they don't want to get the juice to get up to 2.
They just don't care.
No, they're crazy because like the Grizzlies are. I mean, they've been locked in on Ja basically since the draft. since the draft lottery. So you're gonna have to give up way more than you have to get to move up to
Zion.
To RJ. Like I floated out on Twitter. Like I think if you got a pick swap and Ingram, I would do that. Just straight up, I would do that. But like, will the Pelicans? I have no idea. I have no idea if they would do that or not. And I know a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat right now, like, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Maybe I wouldn't like. Even if Culver was a consensus third pick, and I got offered a pick swap 3 to 4 plus Ingram, I would do it. I think Ingram is like probably one of the more undervalued player assets in the league. I thought him and Lonzo were like really undervalued player assets just because like the Lakers are such a shit show, and they were in situations that like the whole situation in LA this past few years has been like very
chaotic.
Volatile. Yeah, chaotic. Yeah, just chaotic. But even then, like, if you look at Ingram's numbers, like he improved every year. He scored more efficiently, scored more. His all-around game is like not bullshit. I posted something on Twitter today, like his last 22 games of last year, like kind of, after the initial adjustment period with LeBron, he was putting up like 26 and 3.5 assists. Like he was actually playing really well. I would do that in a second. I think like, if it was that easy, if the Knicks, my opinion is like if the Knicks could get 3, if they could swap 3 for 4 in Ingram, it would be done by now. And that's why, like, yesterday it came out that all of a sudden, like the first report that came out was that, according to Berman, the Pelicans were trying to trade to take RJ Barrett, and then yesterday it came out that like the Knicks were going to work out Garland, and then now we're hearing that the Pelicans are apparently putting up some monster package to move up to 2.
Yeah, I don't know about Peter Vesey, man. I don't know about it. I don't know.
I just feel like when there's that much smoke about the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's something going on there. And like that's why I said when you were asking about Garland, like, yeah, like I think the Knicks are pretty open to like any possibility. They just need to get what they perceive as value.
Yeah.
So like what value is to them, I obviously can't be certain. But for me, any trade where you go down from 3 to 4 has to start with getting Ingram. And if you don't get Ingram, like, then there's no conversation to be had.
I hear that. All right, let's go back to the phones, man. Let's go to Who's Mark from Queens. He wants to talk about the young corn RJ. Mark, what's good, bro?
Yo, what's good, Knicks fan? How's everything?
Good, man. How you feeling, bro?
Right.
You coming to the draft tomorrow?
Where is it at? I'll come.
It's at Parkley. No, not the draft party. Not the draft party. The actual draft. Are you going to be at the draft?
I might come.
Okay.
I'll think about it. I might come.
Okay.
But,
all right. Well, yeah. Go ahead, man. Go ahead with your points.
Let me say a couple of things. R.J. Barrett, this comparison with him and D-Wade, take that out of your mind. Please, just take that out of your mind. He's more like DeRozan. More like a DeRozan. He's a good scorer. He's a I won't say he can make shots, but he ain't known for a shooter. He's more for getting to the paint and slashing. That's where his game is at. Number 2, you signed Kevin Durant because when you think about it, in the next 2 years, there's no bigger free agent other than Giannis. And Kevin Durant will be a very big piece for future free agency for us. Because if we just roll out with the kids and we improve and stuff like that, we don't know if we're ever going to land a star player.
You're right.
That
No, it's worth
ever.
the risk in that regard. I agree with that. It's definitely worth the risk in that regard.
But when people talk about, he comes off his Achilles injury, is Kevin Durant going to forget stop? Is Kevin Durant going to forget shooting? He don't rely on athleticism like he's Russell Westbrook.
Right.
He don't rely on things like that. he's a half-court player, and he can shoot. He's 7 feet and can shoot the ball and post. So I'm not worried about KD. KD gonna come back in the next year. I'm not worried about you. You just sign him. Number 3, I need the Knicks to holler at the Bucks for Ilyasova contract and that 30th pick. We need to take on that contract. We need to talk.
How much is that? How much is that offhand?
$7 million.
How much?
$7 million.
$7 million. Okay.
Seven.
Not bad.
Because there's two sleepers in this draft who I like in the first round going late. It's the kid from Washington. The kid from Washington called named Matisse. The best defensive player in college. He's a wrecking ball. He's a wrecking ball on defense. Him, and I need Darius Braithwaite. He's probably the most talented offensive player in this draft. He could have went number 1 this year if he'd have played in college. And he's going late 27 to Brooklyn. And I swear to God, if he lands in Brooklyn and he's able to play under that system, he is fluent offensively. The kid just got it. He just got it. He's bigger than what people might look on television. He's bigger than that. I think he's like a 6'8", 6'9", small forward, swing man. Could do it all. I need the Knicks to think about trading Dennis Smith for assets because he's not going to cut it for me.
Yeah, but it's like that. But that's the thing with DSJ, man. He's the same thing with Frank, but maybe a little bit more high value. What are you really getting for him? He's on his second team in 2 years. What are you really getting for DSJ? You think you're going to get back into the first round for him?
Maybe.
Late. Could be late.
Depending
on the team. Could be late. You never know.
Yeah.
The only thing with DSJ, well, I don't not say trust with him. Could he command the team?
Well, yeah. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. J.Ellis, jump in here. You haven't jumped in here. Hold on, Mark. Go ahead, J.Ellis. You haven't jumped in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot DSJ some bail. I'm gonna shoot him some bail. Listen, he hasn't had a full year under the Knicks system. He kind of came over here, had a nice little fast start for a week, and then crapped out. But we need to give this guy actually a full season to really judge him correctly. He had 1 year in Dallas where he played the main guy. The second year he's playing off ball. You know he's not an off ball guy. So that was a disaster. So we really just need to give him an actual full year to see what he can do to really judge him correctly. And he's never really gotten that so far. So, like I said before, unless we get like a Kyrie or Kemba or something like that, something that's astronomical, blowing us out as the world lead point guard, then I feel like we should just go with DSJ and see what we got before
That's all I'm saying, man. Listen, I'm realistic about this free agency pursuit. All right, obviously I want the best case scenario. I want us to get KD, Kawhi Leonard, everybody, whoever want to come. Right. I'm being realistic. Even if we get Kevin Durant and we have to bench him and rest him, we're still back on the development track. So let me see, who's Mark is saying, if DSJ can take another step and run the offense, command the team consistently. Because some nights you saw that flash from him, and other nights you're like, oh damn, he needs a lot of work. So that's all I want to see, and we have nothing to lose by doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's take one more call, then we'll go to Culver. Let's go to Mike from California. Let's go to the West Coast. Mike from California wants to talk about the draft, and he's locked in on RJ. Mike, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I love your show. I've been out in California for about 8 years, and before that, the military for another 8. So y'all send me back to my New York days.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. Real quick, I'm locked in on RJ. If Memphis moves that pick, and the Pelicans get him, I can live with Ja. But in reality, for free agency, I'm looking at I like what the previous call said. I like Malcolm Brogdon, and I think we should look at a guy like Malcolm Brogdon. Look at another guy like Randall. You sign both of them for around $20 million. That's like $40 million. We still got $30 million to play with.
Yeah, you got to spend 90% of the cap.
Yeah.
And I know what guys are saying, talking about
you're not getting better
on 1 or 2 year contracts. We brought Brett in on 1 or 2 year contracts before. and they looking for that next contract.
Yeah,
So
you probably got to go. You got to go above and beyond for a restricted free agent, especially Brogdon. You always got to sweeten that deal, man, and make it tough for Milwaukee to even come close.
The thing with Brogdon is, the thing with Brogdon is Milwaukee is a small market team, and they're about to sign Giannis soon.
Middleton.
They got Middleton out there. They're not looking to pay that tax.
Shwinny, go ahead, bro.
I don't know about that, man. Like, their owners are both billion. They got
the owner's a Knicks fan. He's a New Yorker. He's arrogant. He'll spend.
They got two owners. Both of them are billionaires. Like, just then they won't spend for Brogdon. I mean, they could spend for Brogdon and then not spend for like Mirotic. Like they that's why they're trying to dump money, right? Is so they can keep some of these. They got. Okay, so Brogdon's a free agent. Middleton's a free agent. Brook Lopez a free agent, and then they got what is it? They got Mirotic as a free agent.
Yeah, Mirotic is a free agent. That's right.
Yes, they got like 4 major free agents here.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why they're trying to dump salary, because they want to keep. I would imagine they want to keep Lopez, Middleton they can keep, and Brogdon they want to keep. Like I think they want to keep at least those 3 guys,
yeah.
And they figure, like, okay, we can figure it out with Mirotic and Ilyasova if they leave, whatever it is. I don't think that's that big of a deal for them. So like if you want Brogdon, like I think you're gonna have to pay way.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay.
Not only that, like I just think that like if the price that you think they're gonna pay is $20 million, I think there'll be a lot of teams that are willing to pay $20 million for him a year. So which means that like naturally the bidding is gonna go up.
It's gonna go up.
So I just to me, if you're gonna go after Brogdon, you're gonna have to go to 22, 23, maybe more. And like at that point is like, you can't just think about it like, okay, does he make your team better? Obviously, Brogdon would make our team better. Like that's not. We won fucking 17 games last year. Like anybody's gonna make our team better. So it's about is he gonna be worth the contract you give him? Because like Tim Hardaway Jr. made our team better, and everybody hated his guts.
That's a fact.
Like that, and that's fine. I don't really want to get into like a debate over whether his contract or anything like that. But like, that's just what it is. Like, yeah, you can make the team better, but if you're not worth your contract, it doesn't matter. And it like ends up being a negative value in every way because they help you win more games, but they don't help you win enough games.
Yeah,
and it's hard to trade them because nobody wants to trade for the contract, and there's just like a lot of things you got to consider there.
It's not worth
it. I mean, I think personally, like, I really like Brogdon. I would consider paying him that type of money, but like, I kind of feel like if you're paying Brogdon that kind of money, it should be because he's the guy that's like completing your team to become a contender, not signing him to like improve your team from 17 wins to, I don't know, 30, 35 wins.
Well said, man. All right, let's go to Sandy from New York. He wants to talk about signing Katie and drafting RJ. Sandy, what's up, bro?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I mean, the last 2 callers and what he just said just kind of stole some of my thunder, but I'm locked in on Barrett. I mean, listen, let's be blunt here. If none of these kids played a single game, Zion's probably going like 4 or 5 right now. He's not going number 1. All right, so all this hype about Darius Garland, who got hurt a few games in, being the second-best point guard, that's just hype. I mean, Cam Reddish would be getting drafted before him if he didn't play 1 game either. If he had gone out in his first Duke game, got injured, and we based everything on the boy's hype, he'd be going much further sooner than he's going to. So I'm locked in on Barrett.
Go ahead, J.Ellis. Go ahead, J.Ellis.
I mean, I'm just thinking.
J.Ellis, jump in here, man.
I'm just thinking that.
Hey, Sandy, hold on. Go ahead, J.Ellis.
Sorry.
Go ahead, J.Ellis.
He can't play?
Nah, but he's right. He's like, he's not saying, did you see Cam play? Because we saw Cam play. He's saying that if Cam hadn't played, that he came into the year as a number 3.
I understand. No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
I'm just saying that.
What I'm saying is, Garland at least had 5 games where he played well. Did Cam have 5 games?
Yo, if you look at Cam's first 5 games, he looked like a stud. He thought you looked like a baller.
I think Cam
Will
should
you
go back
not
to school.
admit that the fact that he got injured is actually doing him better than maybe he would have happened if he played the year? That's all I'm saying. We're looking at him and saying we're basing it a lot on promise and not on what we saw. Granted, the few games he played, he looked good, but a lot of kids look good early. It's the grind is what breaks you down, and the grind is what shows a real player through the season.
That's a good point.
Especially in the NBA. So I'm not dissing the kid at all. He could turn out to be great, and I do hope he does. But I'm just saying straight up right now, R.J. Barrett is the third best player on that board. I actually think he may be second. He's not just got game; he's got the mental. He's got the mental side that can work in New York, and we've seen it all the time. Not everyone is built mentally for New York.
This kid's
that
built
kid
for
is
it, man.
his godfather. His godfather is a big-time player who's been there his whole time. His dad played pro, overseas, I believe, has a history. He comes from a family where he's been built. Who he reminds me of? Mentally. I'm not saying game-wise, but he reminds me of Grant Hill mentally. And Grant, and he's got some intangibles that Grant did as well, mind. So I'm just saying I'm locked into Barrett.
Okay.
And as far as KD, if we're not going to all these other kids that we're talking about, Randall maybe makes some sense because he's got some upside, but almost all these other guys, like, your guest said, Brogdon, he's not a guy that's going to come to this team and turn it around. He is a complimentary
piece.
If KD was 100%, if KD was 100% and no one else wanted to come to New York, you bring a guy like that in because he's going to be able to his play will be risen because of having KD there. I'm not willing to throw a boatload of money, and because he is a restricted free agent, it's going to take a boatload of money to get him. So I wouldn't go that way. I didn't hear why you guys were talking about him because I was in the middle of being interviewed by your pre-caller. But you put up Darius Baisley on the screen.
Yeah.
Who brought him up?
That was Who's Mark, previous
Which
caller.
Which one of you brought him up?
Who's Mark? That was a previous caller.
Listen,
He was interested in trading back into the first round and getting him.
Are you guys familiar with him? Are any of you three familiar with him?
I know he didn't go to school. I know he didn't go to college. He opted out to, I think he was working with Rich Paul and those guys. Got him an internship or something at Adidas.
In the sense of that, yes, he's another Robinson-type player.
Yeah.
But when I see him play, I see a young Tayshaun Prince. Is he going to be Prince? I can't guarantee you that. But if he can be got at the end of the first round or we buy a pick early in the second round, I think he's the kid we got to get. Remember when we drafted Robinson, people were like, Mitchell, who? But then there were 4 or 5 experts that were like, man, the Knicks just hit a home run. You remember?
Yep.
I'm telling you, they draft him tomorrow night. You're going to hear some of those same experts saying that about Darius.
Okay.
The Knicks just hit, and this, I have mad faith in our office right now. Our front office, they did a great job,
Ninja
and to be honest, so
appreciate the call, Sandy. Sorry, man, we got a lot of calls in here, but I don't know, Shwinny, did you see much of Darius Baisley? I guess high school. I know he didn't go to school, but
no, I haven't seen a lot of him, but
yeah.
I mean, he's very similar concept to Mitch, where I think he's being punished a lot in terms of where he's being projected and maybe where he'll end up being drafted just because Mitch's case, it was a Mitch had a very weird situation. Baisley, I think it seems like he's being punished for kind of like the route that he ended up taking. But from what I understand, everything he did at the combine, he tested out well and he played well in the 5-on-5s. So I don't really understand why. And, he has a high pedigree.
Yeah.
He was a high pedigree prospect. So it seems kind of weird that he would be available in that same. Most of the projections I've seen have him as a firm second rounder. Somewhere from there are some that have him in the early second.
Mm-hmm.
There are others that have him in the late. So, let's say mid second. That seems in this draft strange. I don't have any strong thoughts about it, but I do agree that if you're going for an upside play, like that's a guy
Could
that,
be.
yeah, that's a pretty good upside play to make. He's not old or anything. Um, yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
All right.
Like I said, I don't have like significant thoughts about it, but because I would be lying to you if I said I watched a bunch of Darius Baisley um, highlights and
Yeah.
film and I knew everything about him. I don't, but I do like the general concept of him as a player and what I've seen of him. Like, yeah, I would be totally fine with that.
Okay. All right, before we're going to switch topics to Jared Culver just in the interest of time. But before we do that, shout out to everybody in the chat once again. We got roughly 700 or so watching on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys if you're a diehard Knicks fan. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. This is what we do. We go live after during the season after every game and during the all season after every major event. Obviously, we got the draft coming up tomorrow. For those of you in the New York City area, we will be at Slattery's Midtown Pub for the draft party. That's the same place where we had the lottery party and also the same place where we had the 2 watch parties last year. For those of you that'll be at the draft, you can meet me and J.Ellis there. We'll be outside pre-show starting at 6:30. Then we'll be inside. We'll watch the pick. We'll give you our reactions. If you can't make it to Barclays, we will be live streaming everything, the pre-show, the draft, and the after party at Slattery. So make sure you stay on the channels and stay tuned. All right, Shwinny, real quick, because I want to get to the second round sleepers and take a couple more calls. Real quick on Jared Culver, we know he's probably not in the Knicks sights right now, unless miraculously they trade down. But we know you were fairly high on Jared Culver, and some people are. Some people are. I see people in the chat highly touting Jared Culver. Give us a high touch point on Jared Culver and why you like him.
I think he is like an all-around player. I think he can make an impact without holding he can give you numbers without being a guy that holds the ball a bunch to get those numbers. He's not a guy that you build the system around. He's a guy that fits into the system and figures out a way to contribute within that context. He will kind of connect lineups. So like I was touching upon earlier, where I think that a lineup of Dennis Smith Jr., RJ, and Knox is a disaster. I think if you put Culver in instead of RJ, it has a very different impact because he will defend, he will keep the ball moving. Like I said, you don't need to build the system around him. He will fit into the system, and when you already have guys that need the ball to provide value, he's kind of the dude that doesn't necessarily need that to do it. Now, if we're not going to get max players or anything, then it's a little bit different of a calculation. Like maybe then you're valuing the fact that RJ has that value to become that type of player more. But for me personally, it's not that I don't like RJ as a prospect. It's that I just don't know if I buy into him achieving that ceiling. Whereas I find it, I think it's very likely Culver is going to find a way to contribute in that all around way productively on winning teams. Whereas with RJ, I kind of worry if you can build a winning team around what he is able to do. And that's just a different, like I said, it's just a very different calculation. But I really like Culver. I would take him at 3 if it just came down to a straight pick. I would take him over RJ.
Interesting.
I don't think the gap between them is that significant. It's more of a preference thing. And a lot of people if you're arguing to me that you got to take RJ because he has higher upside, I wouldn't debate that.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going, J.Ellis. I mean, I think I agree with Shwinny's points. I think Culver has a nice all-around game. I was very impressed with his tournament run, especially with Texas Tech being more of a defensive team. I mean, he carried them in a lot of games. I like Culver's game. I definitely like Culver's game. Reminds me a little bit of Josh Howard. In similarities with Josh Howard at Wake Forest. But I see him more of a safer pick. And with RJ, I'm betting on the upside, man. Go ahead, J.Ellis. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you there. Like I was entertaining the thought of Culver for a while, but I came to the same conclusion that I don't think you can. I don't think I would draft a guy that high if I don't think he has the potential to actually carry a team. And that, like, I don't draft a guy at 3 to be like a system guy. You know what I mean? Which is why I would, even though I do like what Culver does on the defensive end, I would go Barrett over Culver ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like. See, I think that's where it gets kind of mixed up because I'm not saying that like Culver is a system guy. I just think that he is a guy that like if you have a system.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like he will find a way to like produce in that system, and then like maybe he can do some ISO stuff. Like he was a better ISO play last year, efficiency wise, than RJ was. And I know that yes, like 50 million people will tell me, yeah, but he was a year and a half older, and okay, yeah, I know that he was a year and a half older. I'm very aware of that. I'm not disputing whether that matters or not. I just think that like, look, man, we've taken Ntilikina and we've taken Knox in back-to-back drafts. They were younger. I don't know how much being younger necessarily matters in terms of upside. I think it matters a lot more in terms of like, okay, like I don't think being younger inherently means you have more upside. I think being younger means that you have more time to reach what your upside is. Yeah. So I don't know if I agree with the idea. I don't agree with the idea that like RJ inherently has more upside than Culver.
Right.
I do agree that like he is kind of a more singular talent or force that you can build around than Culver, who is, I think like you saw kind of at the end of the tournament, there are like limitations to what Culver can do when you're just like, okay, yeah, man, you have the ball, and all these elite defenders and defenses are going to be keying in on you. I think he has more limitations in that context than RJ does. But like, if you're going to put both of those guys in that context, the NBA level, like, I don't know if I believe that. I know that I believe more that Culver can fit into a secondary or tertiary role. I don't know if I don't think RJ can be a lead option on a title team or contending team in the NBA. And then I also wonder, like, is he going to be able to kind of cut down his role, cut down his usage, and fit into a more ideal role on a title team? And then also not only that, but like if he does, what other value is he giving you? Is he going to turn into a plus defender, or is he going to, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff I wonder about with him. Whereas Culver, I know that like I'm very confident he will be a good team defender and he can fit into that role. So it's like I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I'm just very, very sick of like looking at our team and then constantly taking guys and signing guys and whatever, and then 10 games in the season we're wondering where we're giving up 150 points a game, and like it's pretty obvious, man. Like if you don't value
defense,
you gotta value defense.
If you keep valuing shot creation and point scoring and all that stuff, and like I understand, like I think shot creation is the most valuable skill. I think it's the number one skill. It's by far the most valuable one, but like it has to happen at a certain level, and if you're not a high level shot creator, then like where else are you providing value? And if you can't provide value in other areas, then your shot creation matters a lot less. And like that's why I think DeRozan, I forgot who brought it up, one of your callers brought it up, that
it was Mark compared him to DeRozan.
Yeah, compared him to DeRozan. Like DeRozan's not a bad player at all. He's a good player, but like there's a reason why DeRozan.
Yeah, he couldn't get him there. He couldn't get him there. He couldn't get him to. He got him as far as he could, but Kawhi had to take him to the mountaintop.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, J.Ellis?
Yeah, ultimately Kawhi learned how to shoot the three. DeRozan didn't.
No, and it's not just that, but it's also that like DeRozan, he like look, he's the perfect kind of it sounds so ridiculous, like cautionary tale when you're talking about like that's made multiple All-Star teams, but you know, what is a team that has DeRozan as its top option doing? Nothing.
Yeah.
When if DeRozan, if he's not providing you value as a scorer, what is he doing? Nothing. He's not really doing anything. He's a terrible defender. Like whatever. And people will tell you that with RJ, it's just about effort. And if his effort gets better, his defense will get better. And I think that's part of it, sure. And that part of it, I'm actually not too worried about. I think like he showed growth in his effort as the year went along. Yeah. But if you watch RJ play, like he's super stiff. Like he plays very, very upright.
Yeah.
He's not flexible. He doesn't like, and like that's why when you watch him on defense, like he has to switch all the time because any screen, he can't get around it. He can't bend and get around it. He has to switch it because he can't get around it. And like that sounds like such a stupid thing to harp on, but you know, if you've watched the Knicks at all over the last 10 years, like you realize like no, that actually matters. Like getting over screens matters, being able to fight over screens matters because otherwise you're just conceding mismatches all over the floor.
Yeah. That's a good point. Definitely.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm crapping on RJ because I don't mean to do that. I just think that like there are issues with him as a player that a lot of people don't want to get into because they like him a lot, and you know I do that with guys too. Like I'm sure I do that with Clover, who I like a little bit better than RJ. But you know I just think that like more or less, forget everything else, but like with defense, you know, it's not just about effort. I think there's a lot more than just effort that leads to why he struggles on defense.
All right, let's because in the interest of time, let's switch to the second half sleepers, the second round sleepers. We got the 55th pick in the draft, damn near at the bottom. Thank you, Phil Jackson, for having so much faith in Travis Ware. We appreciate that. All right, so let's go to the first guy. Your first guy up is Iggy Brazdeikis out of Michigan. Yeah. Small forward out of Michigan, man. What do you like about him?
So he's I'm very much like a sucker for guys like this that just like, you know, he's like a very much like a diet size, he's like a very diet sized Culver. Where like he's a guy that just kind of fits in, and you know his numbers are going to jump off the page. Like he averaged 15, 5, and 1. Like nothing special. But if you watched Michigan this year, like he was very much the kind of like X factor they had because, he could create when called upon, but he didn't always try to force the issue. He didn't generate a lot of assists because he kind of played within the system more. There's just a lot to like about him. He's, like I said, like he's just a plus system player. He's not going to like rock the boat. He's not going to try and force the issue for himself. He's going to try and find the right man. He's going to try and find the right play at all times. I mean, I don't know. I just like guys like that. He can handle the ball. He's like he's a well-rounded player. He can handle the ball a bit. He's not a great passer, but he's not like a minus passer. Stuff like that. It's very hard to quantify some of this stuff, but I really liked a lot of what he brought to the table. And like I said, I thought he was an X factor. He can shoot, or at least he showed the ability to shoot. I wouldn't say like he is a great shooter, but he shot just under 40% this year from 3. So, for a 20-year-old, and he's tough, man. The kid is tough. That's probably my biggest thing with him is, he can really, he'll mix it up. He's not scared, which is definitely something that I think
we need some toughness on the team, man. Definitely need some toughness on the team. As much as we need shooting, J.Ellis, you know what I'm saying?
I'm looking for all 3 and D.
Yeah,
all
3 and D
on the second round. Man. That's what I'm looking for.
3 and D. Iggy Brazdeikis, 6'7", 215 pounds, out of Michigan, 14 points a game, 5 boards, 46% from the field, 40% from 3. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. All right. Next guy you got here, we got not DeAndre Hunter, Jordan Bone. Jordan Bone out of Tennessee, shooting guard out of Tennessee. What'd you like about Jordan Bone?
A lot, man. So he was a third-year player this year. He averaged 13 and a half, just under 6 assists, and 3 rebounds. He shot 46.5 from the field, 35.5 from 3. But like the big thing with him is he made a massive leap this year. The year before he shot 9% from the field. And forget that the 3-point he actually shot a higher percentage, but he also upped his volume this year. He almost doubled it. So like that's really nice. His assist turnover ratio is really, really good for a ball handler. It was like so he averaged per 100 possessions, he averaged 10.2 assists to 3.5 turnovers, which is like that's a really good ratio. Really, really good ratio. He didn't play with like a very spread floor. Like Tennessee didn't spread the floor at all. They got a couple of bigs that like crowd the paint. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about Grant Williams, who I like as a prospect, but they also had like Admiral Schofield, who is very much not an outside player, like very much plays inside. So the paint wasn't spread at all for him. So, I guess you can use that as the same argument that people make for RJ, which I think is valid to an extent. I don't, that's definitely a real thing. He improved all his percentages. Like he shot 47.5% his sophomore year at the rim, and then he shot 56.5% at the rim this year, which is still it's still below average. So it's not like, he became this awesome finisher, but it shows progress. And he also tested out like crazy good athletically at the combine. It's like very, very good. Maybe some of that isn't functional athleticism when he plays yet, which is something to be, I don't know if I want to say worried about, but something to consider. I don't know. That's just, I really like him. I think that he's like a little bit older of a candidate of a player, but there might be some upside there that is still very much unrealized. Like as we're seeing with, as we saw with Siakam this year, just being older doesn't mean you don't have upside.
Yeah, I don't believe in that older. I mean, how old was D Wade when he came in? Like 23?
I don't even think he was. I think he was 22, but still, he was an older.
D Wade was old, man. I don't believe in that, man. If you got the goods, you got the goods.
I like to see improvement. He showed a lot of improvement. I think that's a really good sign. And I thought when I watched Tennessee that I thought either him or Grant Williams was the best player on that team.
Okay. So that's Jordan Bone. And then the last guy you had was Zach Norvell Jr. out of Gonzaga. 6'5", shooting guard, average about 15 points a game, 43% from the field, 37 from 3, 4 bounds. What'd you like about him?
He can shoot it, man. He can really, really shoot it.
Here we go.
Something that the Knicks did not have a lot of last year. It's very, very basic, but he can really shoot it. He averaged he shot the 3 7 times a game. He shot 37%. He can shoot off the catch. He can shoot off the move. He's not going to hold the ball a ton. Like, I guess the best way to think about him is he's kind of like Dotson in that sense.
I was about to say Dotson insurance policy.
Yeah, he's very similar in how you would use him offensively. So I don't know if you really need to talk about him that much, but like that's really what he is. He was just an efficient shooter and scorer. He's not going to fill up the box score a ton. Showed a little bit of upside as like a decent playmaker, but he's not somebody that you're going to like give the ball to and has to create and ball handle a bunch.
Okay. So
all right.
That is young Norvell Jr. And Gonzaga got some guys in the dance. They got Rui They got Brandon Clark. A lot of guys like Brandon Clark. His stock seems to be somewhere in the late lottery, maybe a little bit outside. We'll see where Rui goes. What's that?
I said Pogo sticks for leg. That's what I said.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see, man. See how it goes. I mean, 55, anything can happen. I'd be curious to see if they actually go in and try to buy some picks. I mean, I don't know if that would be an indication of, free agency, because obviously we're trying to, scrap every dollar we can get here to get 2 max free agents. But I wonder if they do go dabbling into the draft, J.Ellis, if that's any indication that we're striking out. What do you think?
Oh, I'm about to say Pistons just bought the Bucks pick. Pistons just bought
at
the
30?
Bucks. Yep, at 30.
Interesting. Okay.
Tony Snell.
Okay.
Oh, they just traded for him, or they bought it?
Yeah, they just traded. I'm sorry. They got a first-round pick for Tony Snell.
First-round pick. Okay. Interesting, man. All right. Shout out everybody in the chat once again. This is the Knicks Draft Central. CP from Knicks Fan TV. My man J.Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Shwinny from Posted and Toastin' joining us. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. We're just giving you our recaps of the draft, talking R.J. Barrett, Darius Garland. Will the Pelicans trade up and steal R.J. from the Knicks? R.J. seems to be, warning everybody, man. He wants to be a Knick. He wants to be in that orange and blue, man.
Yeah, I've never seen a campaign like that before.
He's on a campaign, draft, man.
He's everywhere talking about it.
Yeah.
I've never seen nothing like that before in my life, man. He knows how to campaign. He's like a president. He's
doing it well, man. He's doing it well. He went on Fallon. He threw the Knicks hat on. Hit him with the Rick Barry, walked off. Yeah, that's cool, man. Now, looking forward to it, man. Like I said, I'm excited to have the kid if we do get him. And it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits in. But I'm starting him right away. And let's go. I'm going to Summer League, man.
Yeah, man. Have fun with that, man. That's dope.
Yeah. I'm going to be out there in Summer League. So we'll see what RJ and those guys are looking like. I think the Pelicans also play in Vegas Summer League. So obviously the Zion game will be big. I don't know if they end up playing. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to end up playing each other. But, I'm going to link up with CK2K and live stream from Summer League, see what's going on out there,
Nice.
Yeah, man. Let's go back to the phone. Shout out to everybody in the chat once again. Let's go back to the phones before we wrap up. Ari from Manhattan, he wants to talk about drafting RJ and the future of Frank. We forgot to talk about Frank because we'll see. Frank might be out of here by tomorrow. Yo. Oh, I think Ari's at happy hour or something.
Hey, CP.
Yo, what up, man?
CP, yeah. I am at a little happy hour, but I just walked away.
Dedication, baby. That's good.
So, with regards to, was his name Shwinny?
Yeah.
Is that who it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, listen, I think this is a no-brainer. I know Jared Culver. Yeah, he plays defense, whatever. This is one thing that you have to understand about defense, in my opinion. Right? I'm not saying I'm an expert, but a lot of defense, everyone's like, a lot of it is effort. And a lot of it is effort, but a lot of it is also energy. So if you're RJ Barrett and your job is to be the primary scorer, primary ball handler, get buckets, put in work on the offensive end, you can put as much effort as you possibly can into on defense. But because you expend so much energy on offense, he carries too much of a burden. I feel like if you're athletic enough, like RJ Barrett, who's 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", and then just as athletic as he is, you could get the defense in order if you didn't have to expend as much energy on the offensive end. So I think that gets lost. I think people are like, oh, he doesn't try hard enough, or he doesn't have the mechanics or whatever. First of all, mechanics you could teach, and effort, I think RJ Barrett has the effort. I think the problem with him is that he focuses too much on offense because he's asked to focus too much on offense, and that's why he is the way that's why he may have those defensive lapses. Now, if you were going to tell me that we were getting KD and Kyrie, right, before he tore his Achilles, then maybe you have a little bit of an argument that you take Jared Culver because he's a lower usage player. He's not an alpha dog. He'd fit into the, you wouldn't have. Yeah,
He had the same usage. He had the same usage as RJ. He had the same usage.
Right. Okay.
They were he had a higher efficiency. Right. They had the same assist rate. Actually,
right, but he doesn't have.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't buy that argument. I just don't buy that argument that like it's just about effort.
Right,
but if it's just about effort, then why did Culver have the same workload that he had, but put in a better defensive effort? Like, it's not just about effort. It's also about defense isn't like, this is the mistake we always make. Defense is it's not just about effort. It's not just about effort. Like, defense is a skill. Not everybody learns how to just become a good defender. If everybody learned how to be a good defender, then Carmelo Anthony at some point in his career would have learned how to become a good defender. But he never learned how to be a good defender because he didn't give a shit. I'm not saying RJ doesn't give a shit. I have no idea. He's 18 and a half years old. Maybe he's going to eventually care a lot about defense and become a great defender. But, like, I don't agree with what you're saying that we should reject. Like I'm not telling you RJ's a bad defender because he doesn't care. I'm telling you, RJ, there are things about him that make him a bad defender, but aren't just related to effort. Like, he is stiff. He cannot get around screens. That is not something that you can do. That is not something that is necessarily something that you can learn. That's just something about him physically. And even if you read the last article that Ian Begley wrote, where he talked about how he needed to get more flexible in his hips, like, he's talking to that.
Yeah, he's working on that. Yeah, definitely working on
that. And that's only something that's a given. Like, he might never get that. So, like, I don't agree that, like, you can just become a better defender because you're going to try harder. Like, there are plenty of guys that I think try hard on defense that just aren't. Like, Kyle Korver he tries hard. He's never going to be a good defender.
Yeah. All right, Ari, last point on that, man. Right, then I got to go to another call.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to match you like that. I didn't mean to try and cut you off. That's
no. It's fine, Dylan. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Don't worry. Listen, it's fine. What I'm saying is, you know, I'm not saying it's effort. I'm not saying he's the best defender. I'm not saying that. I'm saying RJ Barrett's mentality is get buckets. He's the Maple Mamba. That's his mentality,
Maple
right?
Mamba.
That's been his mentality his entire life. It's been his mentality his entire life. Just like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, you give him the ball, he gets buckets. That's what he does. Just like Ben Wallace gets rebounds. You know, that's what he does. You know, the reason why I think that you have to take RJ Barrett over Culver or for sure is because now you need a go-to scorer because we're not getting Kevin Durant. We're not going to get we're not going to have Kevin Durant next year. We're probably not going to get Kyrie. We're probably going to end up with Ricky Rubio and Bobby Portis. So we're going to need some star power, some guy whose job isn't even to play defense. It's just to get buckets and to score and to make plays. And that's the reason why I think Frank needs to bounce. Like, I never liked Frank. He cannot play point guard. I don't care what anybody says. He is not a point guard. He can't shoot the ball at all. All he can do is play defense. And personally, I think his defense is overrated. But if you told me you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie, a healthy Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving coming into the Garden, then I would be like, you know what, maybe keep Frank because he could switch on defense. He could cover up for Kyrie, whatever, and hope he learns how to shoot. But if you're not going to get any star power, then Frank got to go, man. Like, he's in the Timmy boat with me, man. He's in the Timmy boat.
Oh, so, man, you know that boat, J.Ellis, man.
Oh my God!
I appreciate the call, man.
You know that boat.
You know that boat, man. I want to get to some more calls. J.Ellis, go ahead, man. We haven't heard from you in a minute, man. You were cracking up the whole time, man.
Show.
Is it? Go ahead, man.
It was getting spicy.
Hey, listen, man. Listen. This is what we want, man. We want spirited debate, man. We want spirited debate. You know,
this look like my show.
Listen, we haven't won a championship in 40 damn years, man. We're trying to figure out how to skin this damn cat.
We haven't played defense in 10. We still got people talking about lifetime scorers out here.
Listen, at Shwinny, bring your screen down a little bit. Listen, I think both guys made fair points. Shwinny's right. Defense is a skill. Ari's right. It starts with effort. Half the 95% of the league doesn't play defense well. You know what I'm saying?
Not true. That is not true. 95% of defense doesn't play. The fucking team that won the championship had 8 guys. Why did they win the championship? Yeah, they had.
Who? Toronto?
The Raptors.
They play good. They play good. Listen, when you getting up into the Final Four, of course, yes, the Final Four, yes, you're gonna have guys that are exceptional defenders. Definitely.
They had 8 guys. They had 8 guys in their rotation. All of them are plus defenders. Like,
right.
You cannot tell me that 95% of the league doesn't play defense when you got the only 8 guys on the floor for a team that just won the title playing defense?
What I'm saying is when you're getting to that championship, yes, you have to play championship caliber defense.
The dynasty, Golden State.
Yes.
Look at their defense.
Exactly.
They're elite.
So yeah, I agree.
So of course. So then, how is 95? If 95% of the league isn't playing defense, then they're idiots. Like
what I'm saying is, yes, on each team you're gonna have a couple guys that are standout, solid defenders.
It's not a couple guys. It's not a couple guys.
I don't see it that way.
It is a team. It is a team. You're trying to tell me that a team, Draymond plus defender, Clay plus defender, Iguodala plus defender. These are 3 main studs.
And that's why they're champions.
Kevin Durant plus defender. Like, that's 4 guys in the rotation. 4 guys in the rotation that probably goes 7-man deep. And it's just a couple of guys? No,
I'm talking about league. You're talking about 2. You're talking about 2 teams out of 30, though, Shwinny.
You want me to keep going?
That's 2 teams out of 30.
You want me to keep going down the list of good teams and
with 5 or more outstanding defenders?
Milwaukee.
Eastern Conference Finals.
You want me to name the outstanding defenders on that team?
Eastern Conference Finals. That's what I'm saying. You have those Final 4 teams. Of course, you're gonna have nice defenders. You're a top echelon team.
But that's the point. So if every top team has plus defenders, then how the hell are we going to say 95% of the league doesn't play defense?
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I think he's talking about the teams that are not in the playoffs in the bottom half.
Who cares about
those
teams?
But that's the league.
Yeah.
Why do we want to copy those teams? Why do we want to copy?
We don't want to copy those teams. We want good defenders.
Exactly. So let's get good defenders. Why do we care what 95% of the league is doing? 95% of the league sucks. 95% of the league is garbage. Like, we want to be the 5% of the league, right? So
of course.
Instead of this is my problem is you look at the Knicks right now and people are saying, "Oh, we need a shot creator." Of course we need a shot creator. I won't deny that. But you know what else we need? We need shooters. We need defenders. We need guys that can maybe set a screen. We need guys that can move off the ball. We need guys that can cut. We need a lot of things other than just a shot creator. To boil it all down to be we got to take RJ because he's a shot creator is just stupid to me. If you wanted to say that's the thing that's most important, okay, fine. I'll live with that. I'll roll with it, whatever. I can understand that argument. But don't try and tell me that we suck, so we got to have a shot creator. That's the only thing that matters. No, it's not all that matters. And if that's all that matters, there's nothing about his shot creation that stands out significantly to Culver. I've posted the numbers on Twitter before. I'm not going to post them again. If you want to look through my timeline, you can probably find it. There's nothing. It just doesn't exist. I think based on the eye test, RJ's a little bit more comfortable creating his own shot. Is he good at it? He hasn't been so far, really. In isolation, Culver's numbers are better, and he isolated more this past year. So take that for what you will. I'm not projecting Culver to be an awesome isolation player in the NBA, but it seems that people that are very much RJ's don't overthink it. It's a no-brainer pick. Okay, no, definitely overthink it. Definitely overthink it. If you got the 3rd pick and you got 3 months or whatever the hell it's been to think about it, definitely overthink it. And consider all your options, consider all the metrics, consider everything, because there aren't a lot of metrics that you can look at that tell you that Culver is going to become this awesome shot creator in the NBA, because he didn't do it in college. And you can tell me everything about his age and the spacing and all that stuff, but those are kind of reasons. They're not actual, again, we don't know. We can't live in the world of if this happened. All we know is the world that existed. And the world that existed, he wasn't an elite shot creator. Maybe he does better with spacing. I don't know. I don't particularly think that he's a great athlete. So if he was a really good athlete, then I would feel way differently about it. I would feel really, really differently about it. But, I don't see him as a guy that he's not a guy that's jamming on guys' faces all the time. So that's just not.
All right, well, time will tell, man. Time will tell. J.Ellis, what's your takes, man?
Oh, my gosh. Man, I had 30 takes, but I have to remember. Okay, first, because I was a long. So first and foremost, I kind of get what both of you guys are saying. As far as there is defense, and defense is indeed a skill, but here's the thing: there's a lot of guys who effort is also a skill. I'll also say that there's a lot of guy who doesn't have the motor to play defense for 48 minutes.
Right, well, especially when you're playing offense too, man. It's a two-sided game.
So I feel like defense is not only is a skill. I feel like effort is a skill, motor is a skill, but even on top of effort, there's a defensive intelligence that happens when you're playing one-on-one defense or even team defense, where you know where to go, you know how much room to give a guy who's faster than you know how much room to give a guy who's slower than you know how much room to give a guy who can shoot versus who can dribble. Like all those things come to a point. You know how to navigate pick and rolls, you know how to slip between that, you know how to like where to place your hands and not foul, and like there's a lot of nuances to defense. That is more than effort. So when guys say it's just all effort, you just learn. No, it's not just all effort. There's technique.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. All right, let's go 2 more calls and then we're gonna get out of here. Isaiah from Connecticut, you're up next. What's going on, Isaiah? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Expansion? What's going on, lady? What's going on, Shwinny, bro?
Show me how you feeling, bro?
Never mind. Yo, got to say to Shwinny Poo, man. I follow you with posting a toast in the Knicks film school with John Macri. The funniest thing I ever seen you do is go back with Isaiah Thomas, go back and forth. That was the greatest thing and funniest thing ever.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and that was hilarious. He's trying to defend what he did to the Knicks with Trevor Ariza and all these guys. That was the greatest thing you ever did. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
you're the GOAT.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but
appreciate it.
But I just wanted to say, I wanted to go back to what that last guy was saying about Frank. I came on a couple of times. I talked about Frank before, and I'm a big Frank fan. I personally like Frank. And something he kind of said I was kind of contradicting was that, like, he said if this was a good team, Frank would still be on it, but it's a bad team, so Frank won't be on it.
Yeah,
it like doesn't make sense when people say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, and this happens to a lot of fans, not just Knicks fans, but a lot of fans in the NBA in general, is that we devalue defense. We don't treat defense like offense, which, it's the most important. Like so many people were saying, if you look at, actually go back to the last 10 championship teams, and I believe, because I looked it up once, that only the Golden State Warriors were out of the top 10 of defensive rating, and they were ranked 11th.
I think so Cleveland was. I think Cleveland was to the year they won.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think Cleveland was Cleveland was I think not in the top 10 either. But yeah. So I mean, you got to think if the last championship teams, if they're only out of the rank of top 10 and they're only 11th, I mean, defense matters. I mean, the oldest saying in the book is defense wins championship. So I think we got to stop devaluing defense when we talk about players, because Frank, to me, and Frank is a point guard. I don't care what nobody says. If you watch the Knicks games this year, honestly, I thought the offense.
I still think it's TBD, Isaiah, man. I still think it's TBD. I get what you're saying. Yeah. In a limited sample size, he showed some flashes. It just wasn't enough time between the injuries and the inconsistency in the play. I still think it's TBD. Yeah. And half the time they played him at the wing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we had to get Moutier right,
Yeah, we had to get Moutier right. We had to get Moutier right, kid.
My God, Shwinny P, when you talk about Moutier, oh my God, man! Like I said, I watched a lot of the Knicks Film School podcast, and I watched a lot of back when Mercedes was doing the other podcast. It was pretty funny when you always on it. Dude, when you talk about Moutier, it was, my God, it was the funniest thing ever, man. But yeah, man, it's just about like I said. I mean, I think.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I just say I
think it is too.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, Isaiah, finish your point, man.
All I was saying is I've just never been more disgusted with any singular choice than for us to keep playing Moutier for 3 months of the season.
Oh man. All right, Isaiah, last point, man. Then we gotta get one more caller and then we gotta wrap.
Last point, man. Yeah, man. Like I said, man. Tomorrow, and then I think we should draft RJ Barrett. I think he's the best, to me, the best prospect after Ja and Zion. And he's a good player, good playmaker, good rebounder. And I also let's say for some crazy reason we couldn't get RJ. I wouldn't be mad with Kobe either. Shwinny was saying, very good defensive player. And if it is true that he scored more in isolation and stuff like that, and that's what Knicks fans want, I wouldn't be mad about that either. But still, I'll go to RJ. But thank you guys, man.
Okay.
Have a good one, man.
You gonna be at the draft? Or you coming to Slattery's, man? Where you gonna be?
Man, listen, man. I was looking about getting tickets, man. Last year I went, but they were $150. And
Yeah,
I'm
they wanted game
Zion,
tickets for Zion this year, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. We waited last minute and got out.
Yeah, but I might. Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. But I might come out there, man, and go if y'all all gonna be there at the after.
Whatever, man. We'll believe it when you see it, man. Believe it when you see it, man. We had 4 parties already, Isaiah. You haven't pulled up one time, man.
Listen, man. Man. It's crazy in Connecticut, man. You got the trains and look, man, they're expensive out here, man. It's
these
crazy,
trains,
man.
They're dangerous.
They got these. Listen, man. These it ain't gentrification out here, but it's real out here, man. These people want so much money. I thought Zion was coming out here, man. But no, I really might come out. I really might come out, man.
Yeah, come through, man. Definitely good talking to you, though, man. Good call. That's my guy Isaiah from Connecticut. All right, last call of the night. We haven't heard from him in a minute, J.Ellis. Let's go to Cody from Brooklyn. I want you to talk about RJ and Kemba. Cody.
Oh, guys. How you guys doing?
Last but not least, man. How you feeling, bro?
I have the answer to your question the other night. Where is Travis Ware?
Yeah.
I have the answer for you.
Where is he? Is he a dentist or something?
Travis Ware last year was playing for the Lakers G team.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they did get picked up. Yeah, late.
90 seconds.
Guys, so a couple points quickly because, and J.Ellis, you're not going to like the last point, but that's okay because, but anyway. So the first thing, just to chime into the R.J. Barrett conversation, the pictures that they've been showing of R.J. Barrett, I think people are like, oh, my God, he jumps high. I'm like, look at his physique, right? R.J. Barrett, when he was in high school, was killing Nazir Little and Cam Reddish. And Nazir Little is not a small dude. He's a big, that's a big dude. And Cam Reddish RJ was going right through him, right? And so he's 18, 19, whatever. It's up to Fizdale to teach him defense, right? If that's where he's weak and Fizdale's supposed to be the expert in defense, that's Fizdale's job now to be like, okay, you don't have to be the primary scorer. We can share the load. You can learn this because we're going to need you to kind of play at this level in 2-3 years, right? But for ability, I mean, if he's able to be a good defender, he's 10 times, 100 times better than Carver. I mean, that's not even a debate. It's not even a question. The second thing I was going to say, I think we let Kemba sign with the Hornets, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Jordan is too cheap to keep Kemba for 4 years. By this time next year, Jordan is going to beg anyone to take Kemba off his hands, and that's when we come in. We take Kemba off his hands. The idea is that Dennis Smith becomes a good player this year, right? And he goes back home. Right, so Charlotte can be like, "Oh, we bring in Dennis Smith back home, and then give us Kemba." Right, when they still suck, but they can make it something out of it. Right, and I think that's a winnable situation for everyone. Last, Grant Williams. I'm surprised you didn't mention Grant Williams from Tennessee. To me, he's a sleeper. If we can get
he did mention him briefly.
Grant Williams is legit. He's a little short, 6'7", but he's legit.
Okay. I appreciate it, Cody, man. Appreciate the call.
What was I going to be upset about?
Later.
I didn't know what I was going to be upset about.
What were you going to be upset about?
Yeah, he started out saying I was going to be upset about something. I didn't hear anything upset me.
Oh, yeah. I didn't hear that, man. Appreciate the call, though, Cody. Definitely appreciate it. They said it was a prison call. Now that was the switchboard countdown, but it's not reflective of anything. He was good. He was good on the call, man. All right, this is definitely a good show. We got the draft tomorrow night. Draft I think it starts at 7:00, J.Ellis?
Yeah.
The draft starts at about 7. We will be live at 6:30. So definitely come through. If you guys are going to be at the draft, definitely come through and check us out. And, yeah, man. Shwinny, go ahead and let them know where to find you at, bro.
Yep, you can find me at Shwinny Poo on Twitter. And, I write also on Posting and Toasting, so you can find me on there as well.
All right, sounds good, man. Shwinny, definitely appreciate the time. My guy, J.Ellis, go ahead and sign out, bro.
Yeah, man. So if you haven't already, check out the last episode of Nick of Time Show just uploaded on YouTube today. So definitely check that out. YouTube.com/The Nick of Time Show. Me and my friends talk a lot of smack, crack some jokes, and talk basketball every other week or so. And you can find me there. You can also find me on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, all that stuff. And you can also find me on Twitter at The KOT Show and Facebook and Instagram. Yep, and that's all, man. So back to you, CP.
Sounds good, JL. I'll definitely see you tomorrow, man. Good show. And shout out to everybody that came through. Big night tomorrow night. We'll see more than likely RJ Barrett will be the selection at number 3 coming to the orange and blue. Maple Mamba invades NYC. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We're going to be starting the stream up tomorrow from Barclays, live from Barclays at about 6:30. We'll be live streaming outside, inside during the draft, and then also at the post-game party at Slattery. So whether you guys can make it or not, we're going to be on all night. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel. And yeah, it's going to be a good night, man. So once again, shout out to everybody that joined us tonight. Let's just shout out some people real quick before we get out of here. D Peoples, appreciate it. Dubs, Revo, Austin Stowe, TM, thanks a lot. Cochise, Jimmy, thank you. Frank Matos, Mike Powell, I appreciate it. The Shells. Yeah, man, thanks again for everybody who came through. JL, who you got in your chats you want to shout out?
Man. So shout out to Shambles for just subscribing to the channel.
Okay.
I love seeing they dance. Will from LI, always holding it down. Jet for Life, Rich AM, Matt B. I think Ari was in it earlier. Enzo, my guy Wayne. What's going on, Wayne? Cross Signal. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Tyon Reed, Tamika Pearson. Shout out to everybody, man.
Yeah, man.
IP3.
All right, no doubt, man. Yeah, I'm just flashing the draft hat, man. I'm coming through tomorrow with the draft hat, just in case Ninja P and Steve Mills need a little bit of help, man. I'll be ready to step in. All right, man. See you guys tomorrow, 6:30. Peace.
All right, guys.